Hi there everyone, welcome back to Cody's Lab. So today we're going to be looking at these bees. It is September 1st, and I was hoping that they would have this box completely full by now. It doesn't look like they do, but they are bringing in natural nectar and pollen, because we finally got some sunflowers growing out in the yard. But let's see just how well they're doing. Maybe give them one last round of sugar. And I'm giving them a little bit of sugar, just so that they know that I'm a friend. Sticky bee's a happy bee. Okay, so it looks like the first frame with anything built on it is right here. So they've gotten roughly half of this box full. That's not particularly great. Actually, it's not even quite half full. There's 4 frames that are full and this one that's barely not even halfway. So they're making progress. So I think what I'm going to end up having to do is actually feed them right through until winter, just to make sure that they've got enough to survive. But I'm not really after the honey anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Maybe next year I'll move some hives over into, near a large field of clover or something, and I'll actually get some honey off of it then. Okay, so I don't know if you can see here, but there's a bit of a comb issue. You can see they were trying to build 2 combs on one frame, which is kind of difficult for me because then it usually ends up breaking some comb when I pull the frames apart. I think what I'm actually going to do is remove this piece of comb right here. Just like that. Put that somewhere. I'm going to push this piece over. Attach it where that one was. Give this all a little bit of a bend. Straighten it out. Okay, I think the bee should fix that. Okay, let's remove this right here. Okay, and we'll push this all over a little bit. Yeah. This one would be better because it's a little bit easier to manipulate. What I'll do is I'll just pinch this in place, pinch this one in there, and that'll just be to reinforce it until the bees fill this hole in. And they'll attach this wax to the wood pretty quickly. Okay, should be good. So this hive here, besides the frame that I've put up in here, they have absolutely nothing built. And with how late in the year it is, if they're not already building combs up here, they're not going to. So I'm actually going to remove this top box from this hive. They haven't even filled this bottom box. You can see this last frame here is empty. And there's a lot of room around here. It looks like they've got a lot of empty combs. So they're not doing particularly well. In fact, I don't think they will survive the winter. So what I might have to do is combine them. But I'll give them a little bit, see if I can build them up a little bit more. If they could fill this box solid, then I'd be fairly okay letting them try to winter themselves. But if they don't, I'm gonna combine them with another hive, probably around October-ish. So it looks like they do have a pretty nice brood pattern, so it's not like they're missing a queen or anything. So it's just the fact that they've probably been competing with the other bees and haven't been getting as much sugar as they've needed. And the wind's picking up, so I probably ought to put them back together here pretty quick. It's just really not been a very good year for them. One thing I should mention is that I have been giving them pollen substitutes, pollen patties. I had one laying in here a couple of weeks ago and they've consumed the whole thing. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this hive. Looks like it's not currently alive. In fact, I don't see any bees at all. Yeah. Yeah, this hive is completely dead. I was feeding them with this little bottle with the screen, as you can see.
Down.
See here. But yeah, Looks like the bees just didn't make it. They weren't able to generate more brood than they were losing. Here's the queen right here. Looks like she's been eaten by ants. See how she's hollow? That's upsetting because this was the last of a bloodline that I've been keeping around for 4 years, possibly longer. So, yep. So, it's a little bit too windy to be opening the hive, so I'm actually just going to leave this mostly closed. I'm going to fill up this little feeder I built for them, and that'll be all I do for this hive. My stick my head in and have a look. So as you can see, they're building some combs. We got like 2, maybe 3 of them started since the last time I was here. But not really all that much. So it's been a couple of months since I did an update on my garden here. In fact, at the time I was just planting these sunflowers. And I think it's time to do a little bit of a harvest. So let's get to it. So this here is what I've harvested from the yard today. There's 25 pounds of the cobra potatoes that I had in that one patch. And then around the yard I've had a bunch of other different types of potatoes. You see there's red ones, there's Yukon Gold, and there's the purple potatoes. There's another 10 pounds of those. I don't remember how much in poundage of seed potatoes I planted to get this, but I do remember that I planted 6 pounds of seed potatoes to get this. So 6 to 25, that's a pretty good increase. We've also got some plum trees growing in the backyard. As you can see here, I've picked those and I've got quite a bit of fruit here. I think there's almost 20 pounds in total. And then over here here's a overripe cucumber, there's another cucumber, there's a bunch of corn. The corn didn't get really big this year, but it's still tasty, so there you go. There's also some peppers and a few tomatoes here as well. So I've started working in the greenhouse again, as you can see here. I've got some plants in. I planted them yesterday. They've still got a little bit of transplant shock, but they should be growing pretty nice. These cucumbers are doing okay. Now, I've got this set up in kind of an odd way. You see, I've got this plastic liner in here to help preserve water, but I've also added a layer of sand down in the bottom. And I've set this bucket up so that it's basically a well. See, I can pull water out of here. See, at that water level is where the water table is inside of this. I can pull water out, bring it over here, and dump it back on the plants. This way I'm circulating the water around. I think this will work pretty well, especially if I set like a little solar powered pump to come on intermittently, water the plants, and then recycle the water. It would be very similar to the Dutch bucket system thing that I had set up a couple of years ago. But this thing is a little bit, more natural, I guess. I'm using actual soil here. Anyway, this is pretty interesting because, as a geologist, it's kind of neat to create a model whale. Yeah, there you go. I can just water the plants. And also, once the plant's roots get down into where the water table sits, they won't run out of water very quickly. So the chickens actually got in here a little while ago and wiped me out. And this is just stuff that has grown back since. Looks like the tomatoes made it. All the cucumber plants are gone. And I think there's some potato growing down in there. And oh, here's a pepper plant that made it. Yeah. I don't know if it's made any peppers. But here is a... I'm actually not sure what this plant is, but I'm just leaving it to grow. This was just an experiment to see if it would work. If you look down in here, you can see there's water. So, yeah. You see where the water table is. It's like 8 inches down. So it does work. It keeps moisture down in there. Even though it gets really hot in here, the plants are surviving. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Those are some happy bunnies.
And you're sure they can eat all these plants?
Yeah, everything in there is edible. They love digging around in it. There's Trooper and the other chuckers. Hey guys, do you want some sticks too? I got plenty.
Yeah, you should give them some.
Okay.
Not quite as many, but...
They like the fruit.
Oh, good.
When they're actually awake during the day, they eat that.